Hi guys, it's Miss Thiessen here again, and today we're going over lesson 8.4 from our home finance unit, total of closing costs. So closing costs are the costs that go into moving into a new place. So these costs can vary from person to person. Every consumer or everyone that buys a house has to consider land transfer tax, CMHC insurance if you don't have enough for the full down payment, and property tax for the remainder of the year. But there's a bunch of other one-time expenses that also go into the costs of closing on a home. So let's take a look at this list. This is an important list to keep in mind when you're answering questions for this part of the unit. So property appraisal, this is something that needs to be paid for as a one-time expense when you close on a home. What is this? A property appraisal is an estimate of the market value of a home. Why would you want to get this done? Well, later on when you want to sell the house, if the market value has increased, you actually will make money just by getting your home appraised. So it's a good thing to do. It's a good thing to invest in. So to estimate the market value of the home. And the cost of this is somewhere around $150. It might be a little bit more than that now, but I think that's what we're going to go with for the sake of our calculations. Okay, survey certificate. This is a sketch or kind of like a blueprint showing your property limits. Limits or lines. So you guys know that if you've seen a neighbor's yard, you can see probably even in the front yard, you can see there's a very distinguished mark where the neighbors mow their grass up to and you mow your grass up to. So this would show you exactly where your property limit ends. It would be like a sketch of the bird's eye view of the property. This costs around $300, could be more now, but we're going to go with $300, somewhere around there, could be more or less. A home inspection. So this is something that you will want to get done. This is an examination of the condition of the home. All right. This can be anywhere around $200. Okay. These things do add up pretty quickly. A title search. So a title search is a public record to confirm a property's legal ownership. So to find out who legally owns the property. Who the legal owner is. Title search can be anywhere kind of in the $100 range. The interest adjustment. So this is the amount of money accrued between closing day, so the day you close on a home, so the day you're saying it is mine now. So it's the money accrued between the closing day and the first day of your mortgage payment. And this is somewhere as an estimate around $400. Lawyer fees, there always has to be a lawyer involved for the signing of contracts when a home is moving from one person to another, from one owner to another. These usually pretty expensive, around $1,000, sometimes more, sometimes less. Home insurance premium adjustment. So when you're purchasing home insurance, generally when the new owner purchases the home, their insurance premium changes. So this can be, well, it's somewhere around, it's around $1,000, maybe around $1,100, somewhere in that range. Utility connection fees. So if you want to be connected to new connection or have a new connection to water, if this is maybe a brand new home, water to sewer, or storm drainage, etc., any of those types of things, the costs of this will vary and you'll see as you guys go through examples. Moving expenses, so to hire a mover costs somewhere around $1,000. And if you want to make improvements to your home or yard, this can be pretty expensive, anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000, unless you are moving into a home in which no yard improvements are needed and you're saving a bunch of money there. Okay, so how do these things come into play when we're actually calculating the closing costs of a home? Well, let's take a look at an example. And this might look really scary and big, but if you go through this list one thing at a time, it actually is not too bad. So here we're talking about Kim again. Now Kim was in our example in our land transfer tax. Same example. She was in our example for CMHC insurance, and she was in our example for her property tax as well, or for her for her property tax. So we're going to use the same kind of example, and that way I can take some numbers from 8.1 and 8.2 to help us with this. So let's take a look at what this says. Kim wants to purchase a house for $264,500, same price as before in our other examples, and she has $15,000 saved up for closing costs and the down payment. So that's for both. She doesn't have this much for closing costs and this much for down payment. This is how much she has to saved up for both. So these are all of the costs that are required, that she's required to pay. And the question is asking us, what is the total of all of her closing costs? So we're going to use the chart on the next page to help us organize, because this is a little bit difficult to do. So if you take a look at the next page on in your example, or in your notes, you'll see this chart, and this is where you're going to be putting all the amounts in, all right? And then we'll put the total down at the bottom. So the last question is asking us, after all the closing costs, how much money does she have left for the down payment? You're going to find out exactly how much that is. One important thing to note as we're going through this is that you're going to see that some of these things include GST or total taxes. Now, GST, we want to write this down so that we know. GST is 5%, so that's a 5% added to the cost given. And we would, in order to calculate the GST, we would multiply any amount that we have by 1.05. That will give us the total amount of that will give us the total amount plus the GST. If something's asking for PST, that's 7%, and we would take our dollar amount that we're being charged, and we would multiply it by 1.07 to get the total amount and PST. If something requires both taxes, or if it says 1,500 plus taxes, that's both taxes that are required. So if it's just taxes in general, both taxes, you're going to take your dollar amount and you're going to multiply it by 1.12, because that's both taxes. That's 7 and 5 added together is 12%. Okay, so you'll see me use 1.05, 1.07, and 1.12 as we're going through the example. So let's take a look at the first part. It says she wants to purchase the home, and here's her first cost. So it says she needs an appraisal for the property done, and the cost is $120 plus GST. So if you go over to the next page, you'll see a row for property appraisal, and we're going to do our work in here. We're going to do our calculation here and put our total amount in here, so that at the end we're going to add up all of these very easily. So the question said that it was $120 plus GST. So we'll put in $120 in here times, and our GST, what are we multiplying by? 1.05. So 1.05, and that will give us our cost. And our total cost, if we multiply 120 by 1.05, is $126. Good. Okay, as I go through these lists, I always knock off the ones that I've done so that I don't look at it again or accidentally calculate it again. Okay, so the next thing she needs is a survey done of the property, and it's $450 plus GST. Again, GST is the 5%. So $450 for the property survey times 1.05. We end up having to pay $472.50 if you multiply those together. Good. Okay, that's the next thing on our list. What else does she need to pay for? Her interest adjustment is $440. There's no taxes on this, so it's exactly this amount. So let's find an interest adjustment on our chart. Looks like it's right here, and there's no GST or PST added to this, so the total is $440. Okay. We can knock that one off. We did that one. Next is she hires a lawyer to look after legalities for $850 plus GST. So lawyer fees are $850 plus GST. So if we look through here, here's the lawyer fees. We know we have to add a tax to this, GST, so we're going to do our work in this column, plus 1 or times 1.05. And that ends up becoming $892.50. Excuse me. Okay, good. So we did that one. What's next on our list? Kim decides to hire a mover. The mover charges $1,500 plus GST. So let's see if we can find moving charges in here. Here's moving expenses. So that's going to be $1,500 plus GST. So if we want to add GST, we multiply by 1.05 again. And $1,500 times 1.05 is $1,575. Good. So you see, this isn't actually too bad. As long as we knock the things off that we've done, then we can always go to the next one. We just take this one at a time. So the possession date is August 1st. Her annual property taxes are $2,850, and she pays from August 1st to the end of the month. Now, if you remember from our last video, we calculated this out. So she's paying for 5 out of the 12 months. So I'm just going to do the calculation again on here for you. So this is our property tax. So we find property tax on here. Here it is. She's paying for 5 out of the 12 months times the total, which is $2,850. So she's ending up paying $1,187.50. Okay. So we can knock that one off our list. We've got a couple things left. The annual premium, so this is going to go under home insurance. So if you look here, we have a home insurance adjustment here. This is the one that it's going to go under. Her annual premium changed from $900 per year to $1,250 per year as of the date of possession. So she's going to be paying on this amount, but not for the full year because she only took possession on August 1st. So she needs to pay the difference for the portion of the year that she possesses the house. So that means that she's going to take this amount and she's going to pay 5/12 of the month on this amount. So if we look at under home insurance, again, she's paying for 5 out of the 12 months of the year and times 1,250, which is the new amount of the home insurance. So if we calculate that out, we end up with $520.83 for the rest of the year. So next year she would pay a total of this for the whole year she owns the house, but for the portion of the year that she possesses the house, this is the amount she's paying as her insurance adjustment. Okay, so we took care of that. Next, it says before moving in, she will need sod installed in the yard for $1,500 plus tax. So before we go anywhere, let's take care of this. This is a yard improvement, or this is a home improvement. Okay, so let's take a look at what else does she need to do here? Repairs. Yeah, that looks like the one. Immediate repairs and decorating costs. So she needs to have sod installed. So if she gets her sod installed, it says here that it's going to be $1,500 plus taxes. That means both taxes. That means we're going to multiply by 1.12 because taxes is 12%. So it's $1,500 plus taxes. So under immediate repairs and decorating costs, we have $1,500 times 1.12. And that gives us $1,680 for sod. And then what else does this say here? So we took care of that, and it says, and she will also have the stove and the refrigerator replaced for $1,450 and $1,050 respectively. So we need to add those two together. All right, if we do that, how much do we get? If we add those two together, we end up with $2,500. So we know that the cost of both are going to be $2,500. Both appliances will need taxes added. So first of all, let's find appliances. Here we go. Here's appliances. We know that her total for appliances is $2,500 plus taxes, which is both taxes. But what else does it say? Read very carefully. Both appliances need taxes. However, the cost of the appliances will be split evenly with the seller. Usually when you purchase a home, appliances are included. If they're in really poor shape, you may have to split the cost with the seller in order to increase the value of the home. So she's installing new appliances, but they're splitting the cost evenly. So let's calculate the total cost of the appliances after tax and then divide that by 2. So we end up having to pay, she's going to end up having to buy these or split these split the $2,800 with the person who sold the house to her. So if we take the $2,800, that's not the cost she's paying, that's the cost both of them are splitting. So we need to divide it by 2. If we divide it by 2, she's paying $1,400 for new appliances. Okay, we took care of that one. We've got 3 things left. The drapes in the living room will be replaced as well, as 2 rooms will be repainted. For a sum cost, so for the drapes and the repainting, it's $850 plus both taxes, so plus tax. Now, we already did our immediate repairs and decorations, so under other, I'm going to add drapes and paint. So she's getting the drapes and paint done, and it said it was $850 plus taxes. Both taxes means we multiply by 1.12. So the total cost for that is going to be $952, okay? Okay, what else is left here? We've got the land transfer tax, and it says see previous example, and CMHC insurance, see previous example. If you go back in your notes and you take a look at lesson 8.1, that's where we learned about land transfer tax. So this is 8.1 example, and I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to go back to this lesson. So hang on here for 1 sec. Grab our example. If you go back to 8.1, here was Kim's house. That was $264,500. We calculated the land transfer tax. Now, if the land transfer tax is generally not going to be given to you in one of these examples, so you're going to have to calculate it. But this time I'm giving it to you because we calculated it before. So we found out that her land transfer tax is $2,940 on the housing cost that she had here. So we're going to add that. So her land transfer tax is $2,940. We know that's from the 8.1 example. And the other one, so the very last cost that we have to add is her CMHC insurance, okay? She's not giving us a big enough down payment for 20%, so we know she's going to be paying CMHC insurance. And if you take a look at our last example that we did, and I'll flip back here and show you so you remember, I believe it was from 8.2. So from 8.2, we calculated her CMHC insurance, and we calculated it out to be $9,980 on her mortgage. So we have to add the $9,980 onto our example here. So here's her CMHC insurance, $9,980, and I'm going to write down this was from 8.2 example that we did. Make sure you write that down so you can refer back to it. So our land transfer tax was from our 8.1 example, and our CMHC mortgage insurance was from our 8.2 example. Okay, so now there's a few things that we don't have in here, but that's okay. She didn't get a house inspection fee done, she didn't get a title search done, and she didn't have any connection fees to pay because she bought it from a previous owner, so that means that her water and sewage was very likely already connected. So if you add all of these up very carefully on your calculator, you should get a total of $22,166.33. Now, here's the issue. If you take a look back at the beginning, it said she had $15,000 saved up for all of these costs and the down payment. That's not enough, okay? So it looks like she's got this much that she needs to pay, which is more than the $15,000. However, if we are in Manitoba, we're assuming that the CMHC insurance gets added to the mortgage payments. So it's not something you might have to pay up front. It just gets added to your mortgage payments. So if we subtract that from the total cost, so if we take our $2,166.33 and we subtract the $9,980, then we end up, hang on, let me do this on my calculator. So we take our $22,166.33 minus our $9,980. Then she's left paying this much. So she would be left paying $12,186.33. If we subtract her CMHC insurance, because we're going to assume she's adding that onto her mortgage, which means how much does she have left for the down payment? Well, she originally had $1,500, and if we subtract the amount that she has to pay for the closing costs, then she ends up having $2,813.67 left for her down payment. All right, thanks for watching.